G'day everyone, and welcome to our ruminant production systems. It's me again, Manulua Lomu from Adelaide, Australia. This lecture is going to be the goat production systems. Goats are very similar systems to the sheep farm. They are very similar in their body functions, their anatomy. They Goats, their outer skin is a bit different, the hair and wool. Um, but their management and husbandry are very similar. Most of you who've done the certificate in tropical aquaculture, I'm sure that you have come across the livestock husbandry and yeah, you you've learned the goats. Goats, they have a bit of a difference. They're very different to the sheep in their behavior. Their behavior, goats are more active and uh, but sheeps they're very quiet. Yeah, and they're a lot weaker than goats. So goats can be climb up fences and rocks, even trees. They Goats can. It's amazing how they can climb up and some of the trees. Um, yeah, so sheep wasn't designed to climb all those mountains, and but goats can very active, and they got solid uh, 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 um, body. They're very strong. They're much stronger um, in harsh weather. Uh, I I remember we went to um, Whungawhenua to treat some goats, and they belong to the um, kings. Queen, I think is the queen's goats were in on top of Whungawhenua, and some of them ran right down from the cliff, the far side of eastern side of Ewa in the cliff there. They survived when yeah. So they are they are very easy to look after. Um, when I look at in Tonga, is goats. A lot of people have their own goats in the bush. It's like a backup meat production for the family, for the household. Goats and like ducks, they're like backup food um, resources for households or families. Um, Pigs is the highest value in our culture, and Tongan chickens, they're very tasty, very lean meat, and but goats and ducks are very high in fat. Um, uh, so as goats. Goats can be really fatty, especially the pregnant old female goats. But they don't have the taste that is really like what we used to. We can't roast. I've never seen people roast the goats, but here in Australia, people put a pick on a spit. A spit is like a metunnu, eh? They roast the sheep and it's nice, but it's not as nice as puakatunu in Tonga. So goats is reason that people keep goats because they eat They almost eat. They eat weeds. They are very good weed controller. They're not just eating pasture. They eat other uh, any plants they is edible. Goats will eat it. They're not like sheep. Like when I lecture last time for the sheep, is that they're very fragile um, animals. Sheep. They have to drink from a very clean water. But goats, I never seen. When I grew up in Tonga, we used to have goats. I think we have about 6 or 7 goats, and I never seen my parents give them drinks. They're tough. They're tough animals. They they just have drink from leaves that covered with rain, and that's enough for them to drink. And you can see how goats can survive. Wild goats can survive desert and hot area better than sheep. So you think from that idea of how tough goats are, that you can think about the systems to keep them is very easy. As long as you keep them inside the paddock or in a stockyard, or you'll be all right because they just eat whatever plants in there. Um, yeah, so in Asian country and Europe, goats meat are very popular. You can see the Indian people in Tonga, they love goat's meat. For main, the main reason is in India, Pakistan, and Eastern Asian country, they it's a lot of Hindus. It's a religion uh, um, factors like Hindus. They don't eat beef, and Muslims don't eat pork. So goat meat is uh, very popular in those countries. And yeah, they almost eat everything in the part of goats. Uh, yeah, it's funny that yeah that Indians they eat testicles of the goats, and we don't. We think it's disgusting, but it's very tasty in there, and a lot of dishes in those countries that made up of everything goat's meat, especially curry, stir fry, all types of cooking. They cook everything in goats, and goat's skin is very popular in in those countries for clothing. Yeah, so when I prepared this lecture, I just print out the notes I sent to you. It's only one page of yeah, but I have to talk about something about good about code, so you can most of you already knows, but yeah, so it's very easy. So now I'm going to start. Yeah, code gestation period is 150 roughly, um, or 5 months, same as sheep. So estrus cycle is almost the same as sheep. Um, I suggest that because after this one, next week we're going to get into anatomy and physiology. So enjoy your time for the last 2 weeks because it's very easy. Next week is going to be a lot of notes, a lot of uh, stuff, very technical stuff that I'm going to talk about. Uh, it's more complicated stuff like molecules and physiology, organs, and not only the organs, but their absorptions, they in the stomach and everything. So it's going to prepare to go take a lot of notes next week. Um, but I'll try to print you what I'm going to say. I've been slack the last 2 weeks. I only give you short notes, but um, what else can I say? Yeah, your assignments. Exams is probably won't ask you anything about the systems, but it might ask you some of the estrus cycle of the cows and the gestation period. Uh, yeah, those like beginning of the puberty in young heifers, young calves, and young animals. So um, that's probably those numbers that come in. I highlight some of the numbers. For example, east estrus states of goats is coming every 21 days. So um, they lasted for about 12 to 48 hours. So that's might have some exam questions on that. Those numbers. The beginning of puberty is typically is about 6 to 8 months. Um, but it can be changed. I put it in there. It can be changed depending on if the bucks is the male adult male goats. If their presence is in there, their puberty is coming a lot earlier. All right, depending on the climate, I think, and breeds as well. So you got to be careful about these different little differences. I'm not going to bring in any very um, complicated questions. Okay, so uh, yeah, so okay, I'll just give you an idea. For those of you who knows um, the Microsoft Excel and on computer, we call it sometimes spreadsheet. It's going like that, and you got the talk to talk this other what we call the cell. All right, talk to and Salesi and Sateki. They will show you how to use these ones because you got some functions in there as well. But no, this is not for a mathematical uh, activity, but terminology. I suggest that you use this program. So you got here goats, cattle here, and sheep and pigs. Okay, so on, and then you list here. So mother goats is doe, cattle is cow. Okay, it's easy. But sometimes when you leave things, this one you done this one back when you have certificate. Uh, you make a sheet like this. So when you study, you know when mother in sheep is ewe, okay, and pig is sow, okay, and so on. Whatever you put dogs in there, and okay, this is how you make your study really make it easy. I always love when I study stuff. I always dig in to find out that the the basics first, because if you don't know the basics, you got no idea how to study their complicated stuff in their body. All right, you put here father. In animals, this mothers is called um, sire, uh, sire, father. Mother is called what is called sire, and it just get out of my mind. But anyway, if you see sire, that means father, okay, and mother is that ram? No. Oh, okay. Anyway, father codes is buck. You might have some uh, multiple choice questions on this one. And bull is easy. Sheep is ram, and so pigs is poor. I'm going to test my refresh my memories on it. So next one, baby. Okay, goats, kids. I wish I have a Zoom now so I can ask you to fill this in. So kids, cows is calf, calves or calf. Sheep is lamb and piglets. That's easy. Now it's getting harder as you go down. So do this for as long as you can put here estrus cycle. Okay? And see, you can put here the number of days, 21 days here, 21 here, and whatever you can pick. Just fill this in when you study. It's like a dictionary. All right. So how about castrate male? Castrate male. Goats. Castrate male for goats. The young one is buckling. Young young one is buckling. Young male. Goats is buckling. Young female or young male cattle is young bull, pulley. I forgot that. Sheep is ca- uh, sheep castrated male. Sheep is wether. I think you better check this. Wether castrate male. Pigs is barrow. Uh, young bull, young sheep, young female is kills. Doling, I think. Doling for goats, young female. Young cattle, young female is heifer. Yes, heifer. Castrate male in cattle is steer. Young male in sheep is oh man. Okay. Barrow young female in pigs is killed. You can see how much you actually forgot and you don't know it. Okay, you have to read your notes to get this to fill in. So you, my point is, if you don't do this, it won't make your studying much easier if you don't fill this in. Okay, keep filling it because it's so complicated. When we talk about toe, you thinking it's you. Okay, and so on. You're actually mixing all these notes. You're thinking is short, but is it um, um, can be very complicated. So this is my point. Okay, you can go here. What other thing? Yeah, you can put here puberty. Okay, and so on. What days? It's gestation period. We talked about the other day. Okay, goats 5 months, cattle 9 months. Okay, sheep 5, pigs gestation period of pigs. I still remember how I learned pigs. In Hangul, I is 4 months. Okay, but I learned it 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days. Yeah, that's how you learn. I remember I used that method. It's better. So 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days. It's a lot more closer. So it's 4 days to get 4 months. But sometimes it's coming earlier and sometimes it's a bit late, but it's not much more longer than 4 months. So by doing this, you actually learn a lot in a shorter time. Okay, so that's a little help for so the last three lectures and notes go into the computer lab, open up a document in Excel and save it to your name, and then you work on here, work on everything, and you put those four ones. You can put horse in there, you can put horse in there and camel and anything, and you can find them and put it in there. Yeah, so camel is a ruminant. So yeah, because the goat's lecture is um, yes, sire and tam. So that's what I just forgot. Sire, it means father, dad, and tam means mother. Okay. So you can learn all this. That's a lot. It's not a hard terminology. It's just so many of them. Okay. So basic system movements, same as sheep, castration. Yeah. Hoof streaming. Yeah, I'll put in there. Yeah, there's lamb lack. Lamb lack is a kind of drink. It's a very high protein drink. You can goats. A lot of people they use milk bottle to rear young kids for goats. Yeah, so I I did mention milk uh, is cow's milk versus goat's milk. Okay, I'll cut you something that cow's milk versus goat milk. Goat milk is much more like the human's milk, female a woman's breast milk. Okay, goat's milk. We'll talk about. I think it's where's my there is a week here that we're going to talk about milk. If I remember, I think I'll leave that until then. But I want to mention it now because we've got plenty of time. Feed system feeding. Oh yes. In week 11, structure and functions of week 11. If you can see this. Uh, but here somewhere. But there. That's you got it in your copy there. Structure and functions of the mammary glands, physiology of milk production. Yeah, it's very important, but I just want to figure out this. This is going to be happen starting from next week. Um, how much? We got half an hour so far. We need 2 hours. So milk, goat's milk. It's um, it's like what I said. It's more like it's sometimes the babies in the hospital, if they have something it's called lactose intolerance, they need goat's milk uh, for the baby. Okay, for the infant or uh, because in cow's milk there's a lot of lactose in there. Lactose is is a sugar. Okay, we'll talk about this one. It's a sugar. It's called double sugar or disaccharides. Okay, uh, disaccharides. So if it's di means double sugar, saccharides means sugar. Okay, lactose is a sugar of milk. Okay, you heard about lactose is double sugar means they we talk about this later on. I'm going to make another lecture about this. It's the shape is like that. Okay, that's a double sugar. It's all these point edges here is a carbon. Okay, it's six carbons. One, two, three, four, five, six, and six, and they join in here. So every hydrogen um, hydrogen will join in here, and how they form. Uh, that's how they form lactose double sugar. Okay, so every corner here is a carbon. So it's one, two, three, four. So it's double bonds here, double bonds there, and double bonds there, because it's four bonds that going into the remember the carbohydrate. We're going to talk about that a bit later, okay? Um, because I'm going to make you your first practical report is going to be on photosynthesis. So we're going to do that not now, but I'm going to get that in details later. Okay, so lactose in goat's milk is got less lactose in goats, so it's very easy to digest, very easy to uh, to digest. Okay, sorry about the handwriting. Okay, when it's cow's milk, it's got a lot of yeah. So when it's less lactose, the young babies, their digestive system is not fully developed. It's it's they need a goat's milk because it's less lactose. Some of the lactose in cow's milk, it produces some substances that is inflammatory. Okay, inflammatory. It cause a it linked to the cancer. It makes us very addictive. All right, to milk. Okay, yeah, because this lactose is related to sugar. Sugar can be turned into alcohol, and some people who got alcoholic, it can make alcohol from milk because it's got lactose in there. But goat's milk, it got less lactose. It's very easy to digest. Um, when you have the fat molecules, when you see fat molecules in milk, it join together, and they go up to form the cream. All right. I think goat's milk got a shorter one, so fat molecules is a long chain. All right, that join together, but goat's milk is shorter. Okay. So the long chains of fat molecules in cow's milk make it harder for us to digest all these fat molecules. So I'll define a bit of fat molecules later. All right. So this one here is much easier. So it's shorter chain of fat molecules. Okay. So when they got higher uh, goat's milk, they got higher fatty acids. So um, fatty acids, um, trying to fatty acids. When it's high in fatty acids, when you see this term fatty acids, is the unit of fatty acid will just make the fat. All right, it's just like amino acids is the building blocks of fat is fatty acids or lipids. Eh? Sometimes it's called lipids. Amino acids is the building blocks of protein, so we're going to talk about that later. But because it's kind of high in fatty acids, vitamin A is it and zinc. Vitamin A is high and zinc. Okay, zinc. If you see if you see the skin of a pig or an animal that is got crack in there, it's not sometimes if they don't scratch, it's not kutu, it's not mites or lice. Okay, that's the deficiency of zinc. All right, because the fatty acid is high, it produces higher vitamin A and zinc. So they the babies are having they when they develop the baby, the skin of the baby is stretched. Okay, because it's the growth stage of a baby. It make the skin a lot of it's amazing skin, amazing formation, amazing for skin health, for skin health. Okay, so when this element zinc in milk, it's pretty white because it's a lot of calcium, and I think I mentioned that before when we talk about dairy, but it's very low in iron. Okay, that's why we injected supplement iron into young pigs who live which live on the concrete. Okay, if they live on the soil, they can get iron from the soil and the zinc from the soil. But this um, zinc is is very good for skin health. It's just like there's a cream called vitamin E cream is most Vaseline cream is made up of vitamin E. It's also good for the skin. All right. So there's a lot of things in goat's milk that it make it superior, make it a lot better, higher, better quality than cow's milk. So fatty acids. What other things that um, when when minerals in our body, um, especially young ones, babies, when minerals, some of the minerals that's very hard to absorb um, in our body. So how I can write this one? It's a lot complicated, but goat's milk, there is substance in it inside the goat's milk that it helps uh, pushing those minerals into the blood in across the skin in small intestine and absorb all this blood in. Okay, so it does help in absorptions in the small helps in absorption of minerals. I don't want to go a bit too details, but there are some points uh, in small intestine. Okay, we'll go a bit more details next week. The absorption of minerals. Minerals is inorganic stuff. Minerals can be zinc, phosphorus, potassium, sodium, um, anything that coming from a no, not non-living things. Okay. Um, what are the minerals? Zinc, um, copper, uh, magnesium, big M. Okay. Choline, uh, Cl, I think. Proline, Fl. Yeah, that's a lot in there. So goat's milk really help that. It does have as well goat's milk. It does help in what else? I'm thinking that's good, but goat's milk. It does help um, prebiotics. It supplies prebiotics to probiotics. That's a uh, that's another term. I think that's a bit enough. So in goat's milk, in our digestive tract, like from mainly from stomach coming down to small intestine to there's something is called probiotics. Is probiotics is a bacteria. They are good bacteria in our digestive tract. We need to encourage these bacteria to multiply. Okay, the bad ones we have to get rid of it, but uh, yeah. So sometimes the drugs we taking, unfortunately, it kills probiotics. So goat's milk supplies prebiotics. Prebiotics is something that encourage probiotics. Okay, so learn those two terms because they're very important, especially in the digestive system. I think that should be enough points in there. You can see now is a bigger picture of the goat's milk versus the cow's milk. Okay, so I'm going to stop there and I'm going to run. I'm going to do a practical demonstrations so on photosynthesis. So I have to stop this video. Thank you very much for your attention. Any uh, questions, please get me through emails or anywhere in the social media thing. Okay, thank you very much for everything. Thank you for people who contact me and add me on Facebook. I hope your assignment is going all right. Um, it's getting a bit harder in terms of a lot more work to do. So when we're doing this photosynthesis demonstrations, I'm going to get you to write it up. So you're going a lot more work coming the next few weeks. Okay, no worries. Thank you guys. I'll see you next time.